Hello, 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 everyone. I am live yet again today on another amazing episode of the Get Naked Show with Dr. Auda. I'm your host, Dr. Auda Tovar, and today I have with me an amazing lady that I was super blessed to hear on stage on the past summer camp seminar with the Black Diamond Club, which I highly recommend to all of you that are not part of it. So please join if you want to be with a good crowd. So anyways, I had the pleasure of hearing her, and in naked style, I will welcome her to the show, Dawn Rosemond, and I will let her introduce herself to our audience. And if you're there, say hi, let us know where you're hearing from, but you're going to want to hear this woman. So please like and share with your friends because you're going to want this. Trust me. So welcome to the show, Dawn. Thank you for being here. Can you please introduce yourself for the audience?
Oh my gosh. What is that? I love that. Can you come with me all the time and just introduce myself, right? Oh my gosh. I'm so excited to be here. I was so honored to be at summer camp. And this is the reason why I got a chance to meet people like you. So thank you. So I'm Dawn Rosemond, AKA this self-titled, a lot of self-titled things here. Self-titled, life engineer, self-titled bad chick. I call myself the rainmaker, all sorts of things. At bottom, I point people to their greatness. By day, I'm been a lawyer for, oh my gosh, 25 years. I'm dating myself, but my passion, my purpose, why I exist is to lead people to the realization that they were created to reign, period. That's all I want to.
Oh my God. If that's all you learned today, people, let it be that. You're welcome. Yeah, you're definitely made to reign. Let us know if you can hear a little echo. I just heard a little echo. We had some issues getting on, but let us know because I want this message to be so crisp so I can multiply it through the waves because we need to reign more and more, especially in today's time. So Dawn, your message is so relevant to today's time, and it's such a gift of what you're doing for people. So thank you. We haven't even gotten started. So thank you. Can you tell me, because I love to find out, this is the Get Naked Show, so I love to find out how people step into their passion. What was that thing that let you know that this was your calling? I know you've been a lawyer for 25 years. And what was it that told you that, oh my God, this is what I want to do. This is how I want to make my mark in humanity. This is how I want to paint the world, right? In this reign status. Darn, always just rain.
We're jumping right in, aren't we? This is the Naked Show. I love it. How did I hope this makes sense. I didn't find my purpose, if you will, or this, the fact that I want to lead people or feel called to lead people to the realization they were created to reign. It found me. It called out to me, man. I mean, I wanted to be a lawyer ever since I was a little girl. That's a what. We'll have a lot of what's in this life. I said that, I think, during the rain class. We'll have a lot of what's. We got one why. And mine is to point people to their greatness. And, it started really with me giving myself permission to be my highest and best self, to be the best version of me. And that was a journey. And, but I really didn't have any choice in the matter, because once I got a hold of the realization, the truth that I belong on higher ground, and then I got the realization that it's not just about me, everybody. It was created to reign, man. All I wanted to do, all I ever think about is, how can I get that turned on in someone else? It's powerful. It's not just elevated. It's powerful. It's when you walk into a room and you're your highest and best self, man, you literally change the atmosphere. And so for me, it's not about, I just really, I really just had to answer. I like to say it like this. I said it again. I said it during the rain class. My royalty, my royal status, that's in me, that's in all of everyone that's listening, it called to me. It's like, you got to come up higher, Dawn. There's more to you. than this. And I finally said yes to her and started walking this process out. And that's the really, really short version of how I get to this version of me. I'm just getting started, but that's how I get to this place. I don't have a choice in the matter. This is who I am. That's all I want to do. That's all I do.
Whew. Well, I love it. I want to join you. I want to reign. I mean, I think sometimes, especially we women that are entrepreneurs and have businesses and raise children, sometimes can get down with life, right? And then we can get
Yeah.
down with all this personas we're supposed to be, or all these titles, and how to magnify it. And we judge ourselves too harshly. And we literally start killing the queen inside of us, right? We
Yeah.
start like just like you are not enough. Just shut up. Who do you think you are? And raise your hand if you're hearing this and if you have felt this way. And if you do not raise your hand, you're probably lying. So because this is all of us, and this is the more up the ladder you go, the more sometimes you feel like that imposter, right? We get the
Exactly.
imposter syndrome, and we're like, I don't have anything to say, or I'm not even a good mom, I'm not a good business, and you start feeling guilt and judgment and all that. How do you combat that? What is the antidote to just kill that stupid voice that we all sometimes have, and just steals us from our joy and our kingdom?
I mean, you have to identify where it comes from. I mean, you think about that. Everything you talked about, I raised my hand. I don't know if anybody, I raised my hand first. That's where, exactly, right there, right?
Really?
Exactly. I mean, that's where it starts. And if you're being honest, all those things you just said, not a good mom, you're not a good wife, I'm not a good fill in the blank, whatever profession you're in, that is noise from someone external, something external that didn't make you, that really has no right to weigh in on your worth and value. But we give them permission all day long. And so that's the norm. And so so we grow up in that, right? I mean, we get, I think back to how where all this came from. I used to spend a lot of time, and I guess I should say it this way, I had to spend a lot of time. I mean, this version of me is not an overnight thing. This is a day in, day out, wanting to get rid of the noise, the bad stuff, and replace it with a higher version of me, higher thinking. And that took just a lot of introspection and a lot of just being honest about what was true and what was not, and where it was coming from. You know what I mean? And because I think about things my family used to say to me, or when you use that phrase, people who think they're not enough. I mean, my gosh, I'm wearing a bracelet right now. I mean, I got one for you, by the way. Yeah, I'll send it to you. But it says I am enough. I say that because I never felt that way. I never ever felt that way for most of my life. When I think back, I always listened to the days. And I only received or felt validated when something external told me that I was worth it. So if the guy likes you, then that means I must be pretty. Or if I got the good grades, that means I must be smart. If I get the job, that means I must be qualified. When in reality, or I should say it this way, here's the danger. If I don't get the guy, and this is what happened, if I don't get the guy, then all the other stuff kicks in, right? That means I must be ugly or fat or whatever. Those are the things I told myself. If I didn't get the good grade, that meant I must be stupid, or I'm failing, or I'm less than, and all these things. And that was the story. So when you ask the question, like, how do you get on the road to owning your royalty? Because I want to be very clear. This idea, this stuff I'm peddling, that you reign, is not something you got to go get. My point is that everything you need is already inside you. You were royalty when you arrived here. Greatness is hardwired into your DNA. And so all I'm trying to do is to get you to unlock it. And so to get on that road, I had to, and I think we all have to, you have to start, one, diming out the lies. Where did that stuff come from? And then start telling yourself, look, even when you have no feelings to back it up, telling yourself what's real about you. And if you can't find the words, I mean, I'll give you an example. It took me forever. I used to think I was so ugly. I mean, I promise you, I used to think I was so ugly and so fat and all these things. I wouldn't even look in the mirror. And then I started on this journey, and I made myself start looking in the mirror. And you talk about getting naked, right? Looking in the mirror and saying, Dawn, you're beautiful. It used to make me cry. I wouldn't even look at myself. I'm like looking and I kind of look away, because I didn't believe it. You got to say it anyway. You got to say it anyway. You've got to begin to shape with your words, for me, shape with your words the you want to be. Even when you have no feelings to back it up, even when all of the external stuff is saying the exact opposite, you've got to start shaping that with your words. And then as you do that, it will build you up. I got a hold of this word reign, which means, and I just dug into it, which means to overcome, to dominate, to superabound, to ascend, to win, the essence of win, to sway, to have influence, to wear a crown. My gosh, I got a hold of that. I started saying that about me long before I actually felt it. And so I think you got to start there. And because once you do that, you'll start realizing and becoming and growing increasingly intolerant of things that war against your rightful positioning. I hope that makes some sense. That's a lot.
Now that makes beautiful sense, and you have no idea how many people relate to this message. We all women, I think, do. And Dr. Adrienne is there. Hi, thank you for being there. Dr. Sulema is there. They both heard you at summer camp, so they are here cheering and relating, because that's why I wanted to have you on, because I think it's such an incredible message, and we almost need to have that like injected in us, right? Like so inside of us, so we give the validation that we need from ourselves. We know that it is in there. We just need to tap into it and grab whenever we need. It's like an inner pharmacy that we chiropractors keep saying is above, down, inside out, and we have all the healing inside, and the power that made the body heals the body, and all that is just like we have it. We just need to tap into it.
And you have it. You have it. I as I started on this journey for me, which was, I'm 49 years old. So I mean, just, it's been I spent a lot more time with the less than version of me than this version of me. So I have a lot of stuff to unearth, to get rid of, to throw out, if you will. But we know it. When I started, as I got a hold of this, I started thinking a lot about like what happened to me. I would ask that question, like, when did I stop thinking when did I start thinking that I wasn't good enough? Where did that come from? All those things. And then I was like, you know what? Like, I remember a version of me, a Dawn. I mean, it was young when I was really young. You couldn't tell me I couldn't run the world. You couldn't have told me I couldn't run the world. And so, everything that I used to talk about, I just saw no barriers for me. That doesn't mean I didn't understand that you had to study or get certain types of education, whatever, but I didn't understand when you were talking, when you were suggesting limitations, it sounded to me like you were talking funny. I'm like, you can't be talking to me, because if I want to be president, I'll be president. If I want to do this, if I'm going to do this, and all these things. And then somewhere along the way, that went away, and I got taught something else, and as I shared a little bit, at summer camp, when my dad left when I was 4.5, that was, I didn't know it at the time, because you don't process, sometimes you bury things, you don't process them until much, much later, but it's absolutely traumatizing for me, because he taught me the lesson that I wasn't enough. He didn't choose me. There's a person designed, your parents in your mind, to love you, to prefer you, to lift you up, and especially, like dads and their daughters. And in my mind, the story went like, he didn't want me. But I didn't have the capacity to say, that's on him. What I internalized, what I got was, something's wrong with me. And that's why he couldn't come back for me. That's why I was an option for him. And I carried that throughout all of my relationships. I had no idea that was what was going on with me. And there's, even with my husband now, we've been married almost 20 years. In the beginning, our relationship was really crazy when we were dating, especially because I kept waiting for him to leave. I kept waiting for him to find out. When he learned the real Dawn, he would realize that I really wasn't good enough for him or something of that nature. And then he was going to leave. And I did that. And I didn't know I did that, you know? And so, this less than mindset, I'm not trying to get people hype, you know? I'll say this all the time. You ever hear me speak? I'm not trying to get you hype in the sense that I want you to get a hold of this word like, yeah, rain, and you just do that and you don't. I want you to believe it. I need you to believe it. You need to believe it, because if you don't believe it, it will completely ensnare your life. It will completely hold you back. I didn't have that word, but I didn't think much of me, and it showed. And it showed in the, while I was achieving. That's the danger, is that you can do it and still be high performing. You can do it and be wealthy. You can think less of you and from the outside in look like you have
had it all.
Thing. You know what I mean?
This relates very, very deeply. I don't know if you know my story. Get Naked was born because a successful chiropractor like me, already doing mission trips, doing so much, ended up in an abusive marriage, physically and emotionally. And it was extremely hard for me to admit in the outside world that I was a woman like me that looked on the outside like I got it all together, was putting up with me. And it took for me to realize that I just didn't value myself enough. I didn't think I was enough to allow a man to come into my world and inflict this kind of pain physically and emotionally. So Get Naked was born because it was my process of survival. So that's my story, and that's how I help other women. But in that note, because the Get Naked systems is all about learning from our biggest struggles, right? Yeah. Sometimes it's our biggest blessing. So I want to ask you this question because I think it's just such a good question. Do you have a favorite failure?
That's a good. Yeah, I do. I don't think, I don't know if I've ever talked about it beyond like with my friends or whatever, but like not publicly or whatever, but yes, I do. So I was in a really weird place professionally. I was, having, wanting to be a lawyer all my, as far back as I can remember. That's all I ever knew professionally. And so I thought that, and I unfortunately allowed it to define me. It's a danger sometimes when you substitute your why for your what. You can get kind of off. And so I got it, and this would have been like around the 2000. I actually don't remember the year, the early 2000s, what have you, something like that. I was after 2005, but not much further after that. But at any rate, I was up for this. I was being considered for this pretty big position. It would have been, unprecedented for someone, I guess, my age, and to be even thought about in this, for this position. And I had not even thought about it, but it was appealing to me because at that time I was so, I was having such a hard time professionally. I just was not, I was not doing well. My practice had shifted, and I was trying to dig out, and then had done that, and just still, again, I was in that space. I didn't know what to call it at the time, but I think my royalty was calling me. That's my, hindsight language. My royalty was calling me, and I was perfecting not answering her. And so you end up in this trick bag a bit. And so, anyway, I'm being looked at for this position. It was a judgeship, and I allowed myself to be thrown into the hat to be considered for it. And I went for these interviews, and it was pretty, like I said, it was a pretty high profile one. So I was being considered, and I was being vetted and all these things. And I went for the interview, and there was a period, there was just, I wanted out. If you don't know if you've ever been there, I just wanted out. I can't tell you that I actually wanted the position. I actually now don't think that was true, but I wanted it to stop. Whatever was hurting, I wanted it to end. And so go backwards just a little bit, maybe about a year or two before that interview period, I had smoked marijuana for the first time. I'd never smoked marijuana before. I was out of the country. And um, it's not my character. It's not me. And but I did it because I was like, it's no big deal. And it was funny. The only reason that matters is because when I was in law school, I was offered marijuana and stuff by a group of folks who were at a party, and I was adamant, like, no, I'm going to be a lawyer. I've got all this life ahead of me. I was so hopeful. And I was like, this is not me. It's not what I do. But then you fast forward to this period. I'm like, what changed about me? So now let's go back to that position. I go back to this position, and they start vetting me, and they're asking me all these questions. And the very last question they asked me is like, have you ever done any sort of drugs or anything like that? And I could have lied, I couldn't have. But certainly it's always a choice, but it wasn't a choice for me. So yeah, it's like, yeah, I did, and that answer disqualified me for that position. And it was really weird because straight laced, rule following, whatever I called myself, Dawn, was just disqualified from a position because of drugs. And you talk when you described, like, the situation you were in your marriage, it was embarrassing for me. I came home and I told my kids and my husband, I just cried for a few days. And I told my kids, I tell them, I guess, don't shield them from things. I'm like, your mom, really screwed up, and, don't smoke weed or you can't be a judge, which I think is probably a book title at some point.
That is.
Yeah, I think it is. But the reason why it's my favorite failure is because, but for that rejection, self-inflicted rejection, I would never have really come to the realization that I had, that my less than thinking was starting to destroy my life. Because the reason why I was even open to, trying, marijuana or whatever, it was because I just didn't think much of me anymore. And I didn't think that there was much left for me. I thought I was stuck. And so I made decisions based on that lower mindset. And so once, if you're gonna know about me, I mean, one thing I left out when I introduced myself, I'm a believer, and so my faith informs, my life. And for me, I was really, really angry with God at that point, because I'm like, dude, really? So you knew I wasn't gonna lie, and you knew this is how I talk to God, right? Because you knew I wasn't gonna lie, and so you set me up for failure. And you had me go in there and tell these people, and now I'm embarrassed, and it's your fault. And and it was just funny. And I just heard nothing for a few days, and then what I got was, I didn't hear some grand audible voice, but just what I got in my spirit was like, all right, Dawn, first, I make you relevant, and I made you relevant in an instant, and so make good decisions. And then secondly, you had given up on me. You'd given up on you, Dawn, and you gave up on me. And as a result of that, you've limited your life. And so I need you to and I got it more eloquently than what I'm articulating to you right now, but just need you to come up higher, in essence. And it was actually at that point that I started really looking back and thinking, like, you are starting to make really, really crazy choices that are inconsistent with who you are. And you need to start dealing with that. And it really was a big kick in the pants forward for me, but for that experience, I'm pretty sure you're probably not talking to me today. We never meet. There's certainly, I'm not doing this, because I would have continued to make decisions based upon a less than mindset. So.
Wow. Thank you so much for getting naked and vulnerable there and sharing that story with us. We all learn from people's stories. I believe that. And I feel that our failures are our biggest blessings. So we shouldn't regret anything, because they brought us to where we are today. And just like you said, Dawn, we wouldn't be speaking today. We wouldn't be having this conversation. You wouldn't be helping the people you're helping with such a beautiful message that you have. So thank you so much for sharing in this naked style. We always try to give tips to people that they can start using right away. So considering you're such a powerhouse and you have this mindset that is pretty set right now, right? And it keeps growing because we never stop learning and growing and expanding into our best selves. And I know you agree with me on that one. What is the one thing that you do daily that you say, okay, without this thing, I'm not standing in my crown, right? Without this thing, this is my thing. This is the one thing that I wouldn't go without. It's just like brushing your teeth kind of a thing. What would that be for you?
I tell myself I'm enough every day. Every day. I had to teach myself, and I think it's critical for anybody listening. I mean, kind of going back to that question you asked, like, what are the things you can do? You have to teach yourself to respect the power of your own voice. It has to dominate. You really, really do. And I didn't respect mine. And so I tell myself I'm enough every day. If you really, really, if you truly believe me that you are greatness walking, that you are walking royalty, then you speak out of it. You should be speaking out of it. There's a language. Reign's not a hype word. It's a rightful positioning. So there's a language. There's a flow that comes along with one who reigns. We all reign. Whether or not you choose to walk in it is another question entirely. But there's a flow. There's a speech that goes with someone who understands that they belong on higher ground. And so I tell myself I'm enough every day, no matter what anybody says to me. No matter, almost like I wear this bracelet on purpose. It's not just because I rock my own gear. Yeah, I do. But I purposely put these words on there so that every day I don't get too far off center. And when it gets really, really hard and, I don't know what to do or, because I'm walking this out just like everybody else. When it gets really, really hard, I can lean on that. I tell myself I'm enough every day. Every day. It's in front of me. I have in my closet, there's a board that's in our closet that says, you are walking royalty every day. Y'all think, when you come to rain classes, you are literally just participating in a therapy session with me.
I love it. And we teach what we want to keep learning, right?
Yeah.
With Get Naked series, I teach, the principles that I use. And I know that if they have helped me and help others, they can help many others. And I love what you said, because I have the same mirror in my closet with words similar to what you say, because if I don't give myself that validation and love, who will?
No one will. That's it. Yeah, they won't. My gosh, I used to wait for it. Did you ever wait for it? Like, please tell me this. Tell me I'm smart. Tell me you choose me. Tell me you love me. Tell me this. Like, screw that. I love me. I'm smart. I'm fabulous. You gotta do that. If it comes, it's a bonus from other people. It's a bonus, but I truly know now. I love to hear it. I'm human. I love to hear, but hear all those things, but I have to know that I'm enough, that I'm smart, that I'm valuable. I have to know that. At my core, I have to know that. It destroys your life when you don't get that. All the tips in the world that you can find, the best, you can sit in front of the best minds in the world, which is what we had at summer camps. I love that experience. You can sit in the front of the best minds in the world. They could give you all of this advice: how to make money, how to activate your business, how to streamline your systems, all those things. None of it will matter. None of it will take if you don't think you're good enough to rock that out. None of it. You sabotage yourself.
It comes from you. We used to go to a seminar, mindset, and we in chiropractic, we have a lot of this growth seminars, and we love
because lawyers do that too.
We're a crazy bunch. So, and it say, it comes from you, not to you. It comes from you. If you don't have it, none of the extra things you add on, and you're going to make the most out of that. The same goes with your healthcare, with your mindset. It's so important. I always tell my patients, and these are patients that are not from the Get Naked group, they're just my regular chiropractic patients. Every single time you pass by a mirror, you say, I love you. You're awesome. And they look at me like, this doctor is crazy. And I said, trust
Yeah.
me, do it enough. And she goes, it feels weird. And I said, it doesn't matter. Eventually, you're going to believe it. So I love this stuff. I could talk about it all day long.
Yeah.
But now that you mentioned a little bit of the business mindset, because I want to just pick your brain. I love asking this question also because I want to hear what you're going to say. What is one huge, big, audacious goal that you haven't yet accomplished? I know, right? That's a huge question.
That's a huge one. Well,
The
for
audience, I
me,
want everybody to know that we don't rehearse this. That's why she needs to think about it because it's
no.
just chat.
That's a good question. That's a really, really good question. So I mean, when I tell you that all I want to do is point people to their greatness, and that my RAIN platform, if you will, is my why. I mean that. And so for me, I truly, truly want to just. I mean, I say this all the time, and it sounds like just something people say. I really, really mean it. Like when you heard me say, I don't know if you ever heard me say something like, like the takeover is real. I am trying to literally take over the world, man. I am trying to infect people with this reality that they're walking greatness. And so I'm working on my second book, which is called Superheroes Anonymous. Yeah, I'm really excited about that. If I get my butt in gear, we'll have it by Christmas or definitely by the first of the year. But I'm working on my second book, but it's a pathway to somewhere, because on the cover, it's just, I don't know, someone may like, man, there could be a comment like, she has a huge ego. It's probably true, but no, it's not. I just know who I am, because on the cover is it's called Superheroes Anonymous, but I created a superhero called the Rainmaker. And what I see is, I want to go and turn that into a comic series. You're going to be watching someday, sooner rather than you realize, a Marvel or something Rainmaker series movie. I see little girls running around in Rainmaker costumes. And it's like, Mom, who do you want to be? Like, I want to be the Rainmaker. I want to be this. I know who I am. That's what I dream about. That's the kind of stuff that absolutely, if I'm being honest, terrifies me, because I can't figure out how all of this is going to come together, but it excites me at the exact same time. I mean, which is, I think, the way all your dreams should be. If you can figure out how to do them, then they're not. My pastor says this all the time. If you can figure out how to do them, then they're not big enough. So that's what I think about. That's where I'm going. Is just creating a complete
massive takeover.
Yeah.
I love it. I'm with you. Superheroes Anonymous, definitely. Dr. Adrienne, thank you so much for typing our main idea here. It's amazing. I remember once I was listening to a book by Jack Canfield, and he said, you need to hold as calm as you will be party, meaning that everybody needs to show up as they want to show up in the world, the best of themselves, how they want to show up in the world. And just have a party, and then just keep pictures of it. And then 20 years from now, you show them your friends. Hey, did you become this thing that you really wanted to be? We have to start acting as if we are that role, because we all are that role. If you dream it, you can make it, right? If you're dreaming about it, you already have it within you to express it and manifest it in your life. So let's come as you will be. Superhero Anonymous, I think is truly amazing. So now, in the honor of more amazing questions, because I just love to pick the brains of amazing people, and I love your Rainmaker. The whole concept, I think, is just terrific. So I know we don't have any regrets, because we can totally see the blessings in everything. And I see that your big, audacious goal, what it is that you do daily. Is there anything that you would put like on a billboard that you wish everybody would read, that is just typical, like one-liner in growing? Is it Rainmaker? What would it be? Would it be the Superheroes Anonymous? What would that be? If I were to give you a bunch of billboards, and it could be in every city right now in the United States, what would it say?
It would say, you are enough, or I am enough, Rain. That's what it would say.
I love it.
Yeah. I mean, if I can
There's
get you
another book right there, Dawn. I am enough, Rain. I am enough. I think it's so much.
I'm enough.
so critical the times we're living, and this message is so important. I love to speak to about this for so much, and I mean I could have talk about this topic all day long. There goes my bad accent, so forgive me.
I love your accent. I love it.
I
It's
know.
awesome. Yeah.
I know. So yeah, let's love ourselves, even with our
That's
accents.
right. That's right.
What are considered our flaws, I feel are our biggest strengths. So heck yeah, I love my accent. Probably is one of my strengths. Who knows? What would be a get naked tip that you can give everyone to start doing right away? Besides that, you are enough. Is there anything else a little bit more deeper, a little bit more into your philosophy that can turn people around from this state of anxiety and reaction, because we're constantly reacting to whether it is a post on Facebook or the news or an email that just arrived or a text message or something. We're in this reactive, and I've noticed that in my chiropractic practice that I have this young group of new patients that are between the age of 20 and 27, and they're all suffering of this disease, which is you're not good enough, you are anxious, they're freaked out and full of fear. What can you tell that audience? Because I feel that you will be perfect for that.
You know what's funny is that I did a ring class called I think it was called Naked or Naked something. It was yeah. So I, and I gave this homework or raindrop, if you will, whatever you want to call it. But I said this, and I think it is appropriate here based upon what you just asked me. Follow the 2S rule. Follow the 2S rule. This is mine. It's totally, if you Google it, you're like, what's the 2S rule? You're not gonna find it. It's just I made it up, but I live by it. Follow the 2S rule. 2S's are sex and shoes. So okay, sex and shoes. Relative to matters. I'm not sure if this is. I don't know if it's a family show or not. So I'm not gonna get too far.
It's not a fan, don't worry.
But relative to matters of sex, without question, feelings should dominate. It's you need to be all in it in terms of how you feel. How you're moved by it, all those sorts of things. Relative to the matter of shoes, feelings should dominate. I love shoes, high heel shoes and gym shoes. I mean, all day long you'll see shoes make you say things like, I'm saving my money for this, and then you walk past an amazing pair, you're like, but those call me. You're feeling
Exactly.
right? Yeah, those called me, but so sex and shoes all day long. Let your feelings lead. Let your feelings dominate. It's okay. It's okay. But everything else, you must understand that feelings track comfort, not truth. So they cannot be allowed to lead in your life. They cannot be allowed to have the last say. So when you talk about things, like fear, worry, anxiety, your feelings will, because they track comfort, will do everything they can to alleviate the pain that those things bring. That makes us make bad decisions. I can tell you, I even just it doesn't have to be, life or death, but for me, I worked really hard in high school to get good grades so I could have options to go wherever I wanted to go. But I was so terrified of leaving home, of getting out there, of exploring things, that I suicided, is what they call it, which is a terrible name. But basically I just applied to one school. If I would have gotten in, I would have had no other option, which is really crazy considering how hard I worked. But it was all because of fear. I just wanted the fear to go away. My feelings told me I wasn't going to be okay, too far away from home. So I let my feelings lead. Feelings lie. They track truth. They don't track. They track comfort, not truth. So you must, relative to everything else, you have to let something more stable. Something. You have to let to let something more anchored guide you, right? And so that's why I end up leaning into, if you want to get behind the curtain of I am enough, because I know you're exactly right. I mean, you're just saying that, they're just words, but behind all of that is an alignment with your true constitution, that you arrived in the room that you entered, whether it's a boardroom or a classroom or a conference room. You arrived in that room fully equipped to handle everything that's going to happen already. You don't you have everything you need to lead. You have everything you need to dominate. And so that, and you may not feel anything like that. You may walk into that room shaking in your literal boots or heels. You may literally be, I was just crying 5 minutes ago and then I got myself together and now I have to go to this meeting. Feelings will tell you don't go. Feelings will tell you just call off. Feelings will tell you give that responsibility, assign that responsibility to somebody else because you don't really want to handle it. You don't want to be responsible. Set those aside. Your truth that you're enough will make you show up for yourself anyway. And so if you get in the habit daily of asking yourself, who's driving here? Right? Are these my feelings or is this my truth? Because if it's sex or shoes, have at it. But if this is but if it's not, then you better make sure that your truth is in the driver's seat. And all I'm trying to do is to get people to own their truth. I don't know you. I may never met you. I mean, I met you, but I may not know you. I may never seen you before in my life, but I know you reign. It's up to you whether or not you decide to own that. If you do, little by little, every day, I don't want to go to this meeting. I'm scared. I'm not going to raise my hand. Who's saying that? Who's talking? Are those my feelings or is that my truth? The truth is that you're fully capable to handle this thing. Even if there are things you don't know, you're still fully capable. Show up. And so that's what that's just, like I said, that's to me just one way, to begin to do a deeper dive behind what I'm saying. When I'm saying, every day I say I'm enough, that's what I'm saying to myself. I'm making a decision that my feelings, that the external forces, that all of those things, that the noise that we started out talking about, they don't get a say. They don't get a vote.
I absolutely love that. And your truth is the driver, not those imposter feelings or those emotions that change with the weather. I live in Florida and our weather changes every 5 minutes. It could be like pouring rain. You think it's a hurricane out there and then it's sunny. And sometimes that's how your emotions, your feelings flow, right? It is, especially us women, we can have like 100 emotions in a minute. Right? So it's normal. It's okay. But what is your truth behind it? So I totally love that. And I hope you guys got it and you guys use these tools. And if you like this information, definitely go to raintoday.com and you can follow her on Insta here. She has so much to offer, and keep sharing this video with your friends, with your girlfriends, private messages, do a watch party, because this is important and we need to hear it. And sometimes the noise of the world just dims our light and dims our why and dims our purpose and our truth. And we cannot let that happen, especially in times like this. We need to really take care of ourselves so we can be strong enough for what's to come, or to show up in life the best that we can, so we can give our gifts to those who we love, right? Or those who we don't love, those who need it, period. So thank you so much. This was great, Dawn. I love it. I probably will have another Get Naked show and just dive a little bit even more deeper, but we're already gone for 45 minutes. So people, thank you so much for everyone that showed up. Oh, look, Paula, we love you too. Any last words before we go, Dawn?
I just want to tell you thank you. I'm honored, and I don't take it lightly that you yielded your platform to me. So I'm grateful. And to everybody that who's listening, please understand, I'm talking to you. I'm talking to you. I as sure as I'm sitting here, I know, and I know that your greatness walking, and give yourself permission to show up. Give yourself permission to live on higher ground. Give yourself permission to be your highest and best self, the best version of you. You will never regret it.
Amen. 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 Somebody give me an amen. This is so good. Thanks again for everyone watching. Thank you so much for participating, for liking, sharing, and commenting. You can keep posting questions below, and we'll get to those questions as well. We will post her website, and probably Dawn will post her links right below so that you can get more information. And yes, thank you. Thank you again.
Thank you. I love it.
Appreciate it. Have yourself a blessed Friday. Ciao.
Awesome.